Hello, good day. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I'll be walking us through how we could create a web app on Microsoft Azure. But before we go ahead in creating a web app, I just want to let us know that Azure App Service actually comes in four flavors. So, under those four flavors or services, we have web apps, mobile apps, API apps, and logic apps. But today, we are going to be focusing on web apps. So, this is the Azure portal. To access this portal, all you just need to do is to go to portal.azure.com. It just brings you hoops into the Azure portal. While it loads, I would just like us to search for app service. To create a web app, you go from app service. Just select app service straight away. Under the app service, we just click on create. Under create, we'll see several options we could create, such as web apps, static web app plus database, WordPress on app service. But for this demonstration, we're actually creating a web app. So we just select web app and wait for it to load. Once it loads, we go ahead to create the web app. Here now we have the basic settings. On the basic settings, we have our subscription, which is mandatory that you have a subscription before you be able to create a web app on Azure. Selecting the resource group is important because it helps you group your resources on a single container. I'll be selecting my web app RG. Under the instance name, I could just give my web app since I'm creating an Nginx application that will be running on Docker. I could just give it my Nginx app. I'll just use today's date, 27th 2025. Let's see if it accepts it. Good, it accepted it. Under the source code, if I'm publishing a code, I could select the runtime, if it's .NET, if it's Java, if it's Node.js, if it's PHP, or if it's Python. But in this case, I would like to deploy a web app to a container. Under the container options, I have the options to pick the operating system. If I want to pick a Linux operating system or Windows operating system, but in this case, I want my container to run on a Linux operating system. For region, I'll select East Europe because East Europe is closer to Nigeria where I base. Let's select East Europe. Then this brings us to pricing plans. Under pricing plans, I will just select the cheapest pricing plan because actually this is just a demonstration to show us how to create a web app on Azure portal. Now we have other settings. I'll just deploy with your app. I will just leave the settings and we just hook to nest containers. Under containers, we have sidecar support. I could say, okay, I want to enhance configuration with sidecar support, but in this case, I would just like to leave that settings same. Under the image source, you could choose if you want to create from quick start, Azure Container Registry, or other container registry. Let's look at it this way. Let's take for instance, I've already pushed my email to Azure Container Registry, and I want to use that image to actually create the web app. All I just need to do is to pull the image from my Azure Container Registry. Here, I have a container registry in Azure already. I could select any of the image that I have. I have written apps API and I have written web API image. But for this lab demonstration, I won't like us to select Azure Container Registry because I don't want to pull my image from Azure Container Registry. I would just like us to use a quick start image so that we'll just deploy it and we see how it works. Now I have Nginx under the sample quick start options. I have the options to select Nginx. I'll just go for that option. Then we go next to networking. If you want to enable public access, you on put it on. If you want to disable it, you put it on. Let's just go to next so we see the monitor and secure options. So let's just look at it while it loads. Let's see the settings there and we'll talk about it. Good. So here now we have application insights. If you want to enable application insight for your web app, you could actually do that, or you could just skip it. Let's go to next. Now tags. Tags enables you to categorize your resources. But here, I would just like us to just leave tags for now. We'll go to review and create. All I just need to do is to check the settings. If there's any settings here that I'm not cool with, I could just go back and change it. So under the settings here for subscriptions, this is my subscription ID. The resource group I picked was my web app RG. Let's say, for instance, I picked the wrong resource group. All I just need to do is to go back to previous and change the resource group to the my desired resource group. And the secured hostname is enabled. I'm actually publishing a container. Then the server URL is https://mcr.microsoft.com. Here is just to show me the settings that I've configured. The memory is 1 GB, SKU is free. I'll just click on create. So we could go ahead and create our container image. Let's just give it some time and click on the notification so that we'll see the submission and how the process is going. Just watch it out. So we are creating a web app on Microsoft Azure to host our container application. Just hold on for it to load. It's loading and the creation is in progress. It's in progress. It's in progress. It's in progress. It's in progress. Just observe it. Yeah, my web app has been created. Let's wait for the other resources to be created, and once it's done, our deployment will be completed. Let's just observe it. Observe it. A web app deployment. Good. Our web app has been deployed successfully to our environment. Say your deployment is complete. I'll just go to resources so I can see the resources that have been provisioned for me. Here now I have the overview of my Nginx app. Here, the resource group I picked was my web app RG. Let's just wait for it to load. Let's wait for it to load. Let's wait for it to load and see all the settings and the configurations on our Nginx app. Let's hold on for it to load. And we could also access it from our resource group. Let me click on the resource group so that we'll see the resources that have been created. On my resource group, which is my web app RG, I have two resources already created, which is the app service plan and the app service itself. For me to go to the URL so I can access the app, I have to click on the app service. So let's just hope for it to load so we could just go to the website and access our application. Good. Here now we have the essential details under the overview. This is the resource group, the status it is running. If the status is saying stopped, meaning that I won't be able to access the website over the internet. The location I select was West Europe. This is the subscription ID. Here now we have the default domain name. If I want to access this web app, I will just click on this default domain name and it's going to open on the next tab. Let's just hoop. Let's wait for it to load and we'll access our web app straight away to just show our Nginx application. Just hoop. Let's wait for it to load. Let's wait for it to load. Let's wait for it to load to come up with our Nginx application. Meanwhile, while it loads, let's just check other settings we have on our web app. We have the activity logs, which shows us all the activities and everything that is going on the web app. We have access control. If you want to give someone access to this resource, you could also do that by adding a role assignment for anybody you want to work on it. Our web app is up. It's saying welcome to Nginx. If you see this page, the Nginx web server is successfully installed and working. This demonstration just shows us how to create a web app using Docker as our using Docker and Linux. So that's the web app configuration. Let's just go through it, watch the video over and over again. You want to create If you want to create a web app using a container, you could just also do that and host your desired use either you want to use your own repository. You could even import the image from your repository, but here we selected quick start because we just want to use our nginx image. But if we don't want to use our nginx image, let's say we want to pick from our registry, be it Azure Container Registry or Docker Hub, you could also do that. Thank you very much for staying with me. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day.